Welcome to Innovate, presents Entrepreneurs in Tech. Today we are delighted to have our guest, Ashley Gross. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having
Yes,
me.
absolutely. Ashley, thank you for joining us. And could you start by introducing yourself and providing us with a little bit of insights on your tech background and expertise? Not too much because we're definitely going to get into it later.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi, my name's Ashley. I have no technical background. I'm a marketer. So, other than working in the technology industry, have been a marketer for 10 years. I kind of dabbled in the world of AI starting in 2020, and that's how I got into the technical realm. Um, but that's my background. It is no technical background. I would say that, and I'll save this for when we get into it, but my passion and my curiosity kind of got me into AI, and then the technical prowess, if you want to call it that, took off from there.
Well, tech is involved in everything in our life right now,
Yes.
especially in marketing. You come across a lot of tech startups, tech companies, and you work with that. So we're going to talk about all of that and all the interesting things that you come across and you face every day. As you began your journey in the tech industry, I should say, being curious, as I am in the tech industry, can you share how it all started and what drove you to become an entrepreneur in this dynamic field?
Yes. So I would say how it got started was, like I said, in 2020, I came across Jasper AI. It was during the pandemic, and I just started using Jasper to increase my email tone. And I wanted consistency. I wanted more of a brand uniformity. And then I just really started going to town. And once I saw that immediate ROI with the emails, I was like, what else can I do? And so I did everything from asking AI to create me recipes with ingredients that were already in my fridge to planning an event in under 30 minutes that would have taken 3 hours. I really, truly just used AI to hack my productivity just for the pure sense of bringing more work life balance into my life.
Hmm.
I'm a mom. I don't enjoy spending 12 hours a day working. I want to spend as much time with them as I can. And so I really just started using AI with that realm. And then as far as I entered into the entrepreneurial world, I think I've always kind of been more geared towards entrepreneurship simply because the way my brain works, I don't know if it's for the best or the worst, but I like to take things apart in order to understand how they come together. So when I was a kid, it was Legos. And then as I went into high school and college, it was, history and understanding structures and processes. So I think just having that curiosity for seeing how things work independently and then understanding that why they work independently so well is what makes them really great together has just kind of always been how my brain works. So I was always really interested in obviously tech because it changes so fast. But just in general, I think the tech space has some of the best startups, some of the best entrepreneurs that come out of it because you have to adapt really, really fast, which I'm great at doing, and you have to be able to pivot and just work on a thought and an impulse and let that carry you and just really kind of like dive in.
Well, in marketing, the business that you're in, you do come across a lot of AI tech driven startups or companies, and they come seeking your help. And to me, a marketer, to be a great marketer is a gift, like being a great singer. It's a talent. You're able to foresee uh, what channel, what road, what path to take to kind of establish that brand and to build a brand. Can you please elaborate on that? I'm not a marketer, so if I say something wrong, please stop me or excuse me.
No,
I'll let you.
I think all the marketers listening to this right now will probably be like clapping and cheering because I think you cemented it very perfectly. We're in charge of a lot of things. We wear lots of hats. I think that if you asked, five different CEOs what a marketer does, they would each give you very different ideas and expectations. And that's a lot of the issues with marketing is there's lots and lots and lots of things that happen behind the scenes. So I always say that a marketer's job is to make sales job easier because that really encapsulates everything. Our job is to have a pulse check on the market, on the product, and on the prospects so that when they are ready to buy, our product is already right in front of them. And it's
Mhm.
just making that decision of like, okay, today's the day I'm going to buy. But we're there, we're right in front of them, we're showing them all the things, we're saying all the things. And we have a really high emotional intelligence. I would say that's what encapsulates marketing.
As a leader of integrating AI within marketing team, what are some of the key challenges you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Yes. So I will say when I rolled out generative AI to my enterprise company of over 100 marketers, this was pre ChatGPT. So I just want to say that contextually for people that are listening, there was not a lot of resources online. So the way that I approached rolling out AI was I just went to every single person as a human on an individual level and said, what do you not like about your job? Let's get you back to doing more of the things you love. And so some of the issues I came across were people, not thinking that they could use AI because they didn't have technical backgrounds or they didn't understand the history of LLMs, which you don't need to do. And unless you enjoy doing that, I would discourage you actually from going down that rabbit hole. Um, some of the other issues were just I think there's lots of use cases where people think there's like a blanket area where they can just say like, oh, AI can solve that. And AI is really, really good at many things. But if you don't have a good foundation of communication, AI is only going to enhance those gaps. It's not going to fill them in for you. Only you and your unique humanness can fill in the communication gap.
Correct.
I
Correct.
would say those are the main issues I came across.
I mean, AI is a tool, and a lot of people need to understand that. A lot of people think, you know what, I can just put my hands behind my head, kick back, and let AI do the work. No, no. AI is a tool to help you advance, reach your goals, your vision faster, easier, and better. But still, you need to be the driving force or the main foundation, as you just said, behind it all. uh,
Absolutely.
as in any business, whether it's the music business, is a tool to enhance, to help, to make things faster and better, not to take over, because human has the emotion, has the feeling, has the experience, and have that touch that AI doesn't have. You know,
Yeah.
and
And then I
most of
would,
the AI we're dealing with, it's not really, it's more ML, machine learning.
right,
Based on data and information that being trained. It does not
right.
make the decision for you which one is better, which one is not.
Exactly. And then I would also
Yes.
just add on top of that, there's this basic foundation that I see a lot of people miss. You have to make people feel safe and heard before you teach them something new. So you can't skip that. It's a non-negotiable. And what I mean by that is, if I would never tell my grandma, for instance, that she should go invest in Bitcoin, right? Like I need to know my audience and like that's not the audience for that
Very
product.
clever. Well said.
And so,
Yes, I like that.
and so it's the same thing with AI. It's you have to meet people where they're at. You can't talk at them. So trying to come at them with this approach of like you can save hours automating tasks. Well, maybe they don't care because unless they work for themselves, like most of the time at 5 o'clock, people can log off their computers and walk away and be good. And so coming at them with this approach of like, you can save so much time automating emails, they're going to be like, okay. And like, that's not, even if you're getting your persona right, and that normally is their pain point, you can't talk at them as if they're a persona with that pain point. You have to bring them something that brings them an immediate instant gratification that they can see the ROI in the first time, their first experience using AI. Because if you
Hmm.
don't set the parameters for that first encounter, your adoption rate will drop off immediately.
Absolutely. Understand your audience. For our viewers and listeners, understand your audience when you want to get a product out there. And hey, um, as I would say, I was a marketing or as an entrepreneur, marketing tech person. Um, you know, for our audience and for our listeners and for me, is it easier to promote an actual tangible device or product, or is it harder or easier also to promote technology, a software? You know, back in the old days, it's easier because you have a tangible product. You could see it, whether it's food or it's something you wear or a device you use for your home or for technology. But promoting a software, an idea of an AI product and a technology, how do you put yourself in that mindset that you're dealing with something not really tangible as a
You don't
marketer?
promote the product, you promote an experience. I'll give you a great example.
Good answer.
When was the last time you went on any AI vendor's website and went to their customer testimonials and you saw something that wasn't generic, right? Most of the time when you go, and I am stereotyping and lumping them all in. So
It's
if
okay.
it's out there, please somebody tag me and tell me. I'm happy to be wrong here. But anytime I go to a website and I see customer testimonials, it's always an ROI number and it's always metrics because they think that prospects want to see metrics. And it's this tool saved them 90% of their time. And now like they do this for a living or they're happy. I look at that and I'm like, okay, but like what did you do for them as a person, right? Like they can go and walk away from their job tomorrow. And what did
Yes.
you actually bring to their life for value?
Hmm.
What I would personally like to see is experiences. I want to go to that customer testimonials page and I want to see Tom, the CTO of Microsoft, is able to go to his child's little baseball games every Thursday at 5 p.m. because he automates all the tasks that he hates doing that normally take up so much of his time, that he can now go every single Thursday at 5 p.m. and go watch his son play t-ball and not be stressed out because AI is automating his schedule. That is the customer testimonial that I want to see, because that is a human experience that I see the ROI in, that I don't care what the technology is. If I can get that amount of time back in my day and you're telling me what they're doing with that time, then I'm like, oh, wow, I wonder what I can do with my time. That like you set people up so that, Ashley 3.0, I need you to tell me what Ashley 4.0 can look like. And then I don't care what the tools are as long as they're safe and ethical and they're mission driven. But if you can tell me and show me that projection of myself and what I could be, then you have me and I'm interested.
Interesting. Interesting. Just like when Nike does sells a lifestyle, and Apple.
Peloton.
And yes.
Peloton
Yes.
drastically switched their marketing. They used to go after like the gurus that were always in the gym all the time. And then they realized that's not the average everyday person. That's actually a
Correct.
turnoff because
Yeah.
some people don't think that's approachable. They're like, oh, this product's not for me. I am not one of those people. So now if you look at their marketing, it's all about just get up and get in the time and do whatever you can from wherever you're at. If you can't make it to the gym, here's a 5 minute workout you can do from your home. That is realistic.
Amazing approach. I like that because I mean that's where we're heading at. Everything is going to be technology and AI. So it's really the approach is no longer direct approach. Is no
Right.
longer focus on the result, on the lifestyle, on the what he, as you said, focus on what that person is doing with their free time.
Right.
And in
Well,
the
and if
end
you
of it,
look at
yeah,
And if you look at
please.
consumer patterns, we're looking at the most emotionally
Hmm.
intelligent consumers that we've ever seen. They
Hmm.
care about where they're putting their money, about the vendors that they're choosing, about those founders' visions and ethics and what they're doing, because they want to know that their money is actually being put to good use. So it's no longer about having a good product. It's about actually being your product, standing by your product, and having a long-term vision.
Yes, absolutely. Well said. Could you elaborate on some of the impactful AI use cases you've deployed at commercial or I should say commerce tools and the results that you achieved?
Yeah, so I will try and name one from each department in marketing. So I
Please.
know that our SEO guru, so it used to take him 1 hour to do meta descriptions. Now it takes him 1 minute with AI. Our
Easy.
product marketers, competitive research, it used to take them 45 minutes per competitor. Now it takes them 15 minutes with AI. Our performance marketing team, it's a team of three. So they're super scrappy for an enterprise company that is, I think, almost 700 employees large. Used to take them 45 minutes once a week to get all their metrics together. Now it takes them 10 minutes automating it with AI. Let's talk about PR and comms. So having a handle on external and internal communication is a
Hmm.
beast. Now with AI, everything is automated so they can actually like filter for specific things that they're looking for instead of spending an hour to 2 hours going through everything on the internet and internal conversations. Demand generation, ABM, having an ABM team or an agency that you have to work with, you can automate all of this with AI and it can take 1 hour to set up an ABM framework. And then it's 10 minutes every single week just updating it. I don't even know how to qualitate that into terms of what it would normally take because people have teams and agencies that they have to outsource to do this in a year. Those were just some of the numbers. And again, like I was going through the lens of what people didn't like to do. So those were the tasks that they gave me that they wanted to automate.
And what do you do with all this time? If we take all these hours and days, probably that's a lot of time being saved. So you can use that towards educating yourself and your staff.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll give you two great examples of time well spent. So if you're not having to do these mundane tasks and you're automating them with AI, you can get back to in real life connections because every single study that is coming out is telling you that people crave that connection. They want to
Yes.
have these conversations. They want to build relationships and people don't know how to network because most of the time they're so busy. So this is going to be my third business that I created. And I spend 20 calls every single week meeting new people. And I do 30-minute virtual coffees and I truly network. I would never have been able to do that in the past if there wasn't AI to do that, to automate those tasks for me and to organize my to-do list and reprioritize my time. That's how I want to spend my time though, is meeting these people.
Interesting. From a marketing point of view, are you saying that AI technology is actually helping humanity go back to where it used to be, to have more time to communicate and build this relationship and interact with others?
I do. I do. I think it's giving people permission to just take a beat and say, like, okay, what do I like to do? I want to go do more of that. Or just look at the business holistically instead of looking at things you have to check mark as items and saying, okay, like, where are our customers? Well, we need to be where they are. So if that's in person, then we need to take the time to make sure that we can do that. And whatever we're spending our time doing that's taking away from that, let's go ahead and figure out a problem for that to solve for.
Interesting. How do you ensure that AI solution that you implement align with ethical principles and promote inclusivity?
I love this question. So the short answer is it is never a one and done deal. You always have to iterate. You always have to challenge your beliefs and conceptions. But the way that I did it was when I was vetting these vendors, I would ask them, I have 3 pages of questions that I would ask them just on ethics and sustainability of the tool. And the questions would be, show me a time that your LLM didn't mitigate bias and what you're going to put in place so that this doesn't happen again. Because we're looking at the worst iterations of generative AI that we will ever see in our history. They
Yes.
aren't getting everything. And that's fine, but we need to know as users what they're missing so that we know where we need to fill in the gaps and how to do that practically. Some of the other questions were, let's look at the diversity breakup of your teams, because if you don't have representation on your teams and the people that are creating this technology, then the outputs of the technology are not actually going to be for everyone. If I ask you what bias means to you, you're going to give me a completely different answer than me. And that's what makes you and I uniquely human. It's a lived experience. And so
Yes. A
representation
lived
does
experience.
matter.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Mm.
These things matter. So taking the time to ask these questions, taking the time to have these vulnerable conversations, I would say also asking them how they're training people on mitigating bias as far as prompting goes, because having prompt engineering as a part of the hygiene for every AI vendor is extremely important. Otherwise, you're just putting your technology out there and that technology is only as good as the person using it. And there's nothing that you're doing to put in place as far as guardrails go.
You know, it's funny. A few months ago, I didn't know even prompt engineers actually existed.
Hmm.
I was shocked, and it's pretty interesting. It's you said
Yes.
something. This technology is good as the person that uses it. That is
Yep.
actually exactly something that a lot of people don't take into consideration.
Right.
AI is good, but you do. It's how you prompt it, how you direct it, how do you? Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. If you think about it, it's kind of amazing that Sam Altman was able to get all of these millions of people to work for him and pay him to work for him, because that's essentially what everyone is doing when they're using ChatGPT is they are building this model. They are helping them sculpt this model. And if you think about that, that's really like great for Sam Altman. Like I wish I could find a way to make people pay me and work for me. But also, that's really scary because then we're thinking about all these different people and we have no idea what their skill set is. We've never benchmarked them and
No.
they're putting in everything that they know, and that's only as good as whoever taught them. So, shaping the education part of this is very, very important, and it's a foundation that
Mhm.
people really need to take a minute to think about.
What do you see in AI continuing revolutionizing marketing strategies in the future? Like, how do you see how impact how or what's your vision of it? That how is it gonna, I would say, drive the marketing industry? AI.
We're already starting to see this where there's lots of roles that are evolving and they should evolve. So I'll give you a great example, a content writer, an editor, and a copywriter. Those no longer need to be 3 separate roles. They can be one role because if you choose somebody, if you choose a candidate that knows how to use AI to be the best versions of themselves and write the text, edit the text, and then be totally fine to copyright the text and move on to the next phase, that is well worth the same amount of salary as those 3 positions put together, right? Because it's one person doing that. And it's kind of like you're cross training. So I always like to say lots of workers should cross train their employees. And when you adapt your hiring practices with AI first, that's exactly what you're doing is you're not saying like, oh, you don't know how to use AI, we're not hiring you. What you are saying is we expect you to know what your job is, what the person's job before you is, and how you impact them, and then the person after you, because then that is actually you being your best version, is knowing what your impact does and how it drives that next Lego block that you're going to hit or the next
Is there a
domino.
fear that you might think in the future that AI might, it'll be all automated, it'll be all AI
No.
driven?
No, because I still see 95% of AI adoption being a communication problem. People are not great at communicating, and I think that that's a stuck point for a lot of people because
Hmm.
they don't want to admit that, but it is, and you can't solve everything with AI. And so the basis of even figuring out if your problem is solvable with AI is saying like, okay, as a business, not as a department, but as a business, what is our problem this quarter? Okay, great. Can we solve that problem with AI? Yes or no? And then you break it up to your department leads and say, as a department, what can you contribute to solve that problem? That's really how you holistically start to roll out AI in a company.
Hmm. I'll tell you, marketing is really, a lot of people don't give it enough credit, and marketing is behind everything. Is
Yes.
behind. Doesn't matter how great or how simple your tool is, whether it's a tangible tool or a tech-driven tool, a software. It's all
Yes.
marketing. It's
It
all
is.
about the right marketing. To me, I say it again. I said singers, but I think to me, marketers like scientists. Actually, they gotta go into there and just like a chemist. They go seriously. I mean,
They do.
you need to have the like a prompt engineer. I would say a marketing engineer. You really
Yes.
have to. Yes, it's a science. It's
It
really a science.
is.
A successful marketer to me is a scientist. Absolutely,
I think
because
that's probably why a lot of marketers have a science background, to be honest. That's the way that their brains work, and they understand that like there's no one solution. Everything's not like a one size fits all. You can get to from point A to point B in different ways. It doesn't have to be a straight line.
Interesting. Can you tell us about more about the community that you are building, focused on providing
Yes,
accessible education for entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs interested in AI? I'm very
I
interested to learn about that.
I would love to tell you more. So
Yes.
it's a subscription based community. It's hosted on Circle. So for $20 every single month, people can come into this community and they get to test out 4 different tools every month, along with 3 virtual tutorials of actually hands on AI use cases. So 3 use cases a week, 1 new AI tool a week. And the best part is, so how it works is you come into the community every single week on a Monday, we release a podcast episode where we pull in an AI founder and they talk about the mission, the ethics, the value, the ROI behind their tool.
Hmm.
So the users, before they even get into that technology, they're hearing from the founders, and it's kind of this familiar, safe environment where they're like, okay, we know something. We can ask questions. We don't have to jump in and pay a fee and start testing. So then once they have that conversation with the founders, then they get free access to the tool for 7 days. So now they have an understanding of the founders and their mission, the value, and the ethics. They're getting a free testing of the tool. And then we have 3 use cases that week of using that tool and how we're doing it and how each person is kind of conceptualizing what the best ROI for them is. Um, and that's every single week that we do that. So it's very much bridging the gap between these tools and the users. It's neutral. We are not sponsored by any one vendor. It's a neutral playground. That's what I like to say. We like to have fun. We like to keep it safe, and we're inclusive.
Hmm. So it's pretty much promoting new AI startups or tools,
Everything,
ideas. Wow.
everything. There's no strict box that I'm putting ourself in and our community in. It's lots of AI enthusiasts. It's also lots of business owners. Some of the people in there, though, have never played around with AI. They're not necessarily AI enthusiasts. They just know that this tool is out here and this technology is out here and they want to do something with it, but they want to do it in a way that it's not just them in this isolated island and they're not being talked at. They're in a community where if they just want to observe for a couple of weeks and listen to these use cases and have the on demand videos, then they can. And if they want to participate, they get to choose. And then another really cool feature that I haven't seen in other communities is they get to actually pick which courses and which founders come in. So I put a survey out every single week where I'm like, okay, which tutorial do you guys want to see live? Which one do you want to do? And they tell me. And they tell me when they want to do the tutorial live. And
Hmm.
then I give them a certain amount of AI vendors that are on our roster that month. And I say, okay, here's the lineup. Which one do you guys want to do this week? Because sometimes a lot of people have like a big event coming up or they're a part of a company and the company has a QBR coming up and they have a specific skill set that they want to get out of this week. And a lot of people get really excited whenever there's a problem and the community gets to come together and solve it using AI tools.
Very interesting. Are these, you know, are these startup, like basically beginning startup AI
No.
tech companies or established? Uh,
Yes.
mhm,
These are
interesting.
established. So some of our vendors are Everart, they're Copy AI, they're Read AI. We have I don't want to release too many of them because there's some surprises coming up. But we have ones that are very established. We also have some new ones, but there's lots of guardrails put into place. So I vet them first before they even enter the community. And then they are at the mercy of the community. So the community gets to ask as many questions as they want because everyone should feel safe before they start to use this technology. It's life changing. They should take the time to understand the tools and the founders of them.
Amazing. And it's a great way to test the market.
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely.
Very clever.
Thank you.
I didn't think of that. I like that. You're always thinking, Ashley.
Thank you. It's
Listen,
accessible and affordable.
I think you have a little crystal ball at home, foresee the future. I think you
I
do.
wish. I
Yes.
wish I had that.
Um, let's see. Can I like? I love the idea of the community that you're building, but what sets it apart from other platforms offering AI education for entrepreneurs?
I would say the accountability factor. I
Hmm.
haven't seen another community that vets these vendors because it very much is a two-way street. It's not that these vendors are these big established giants and they just get to sell technology and not be held accountable for their technology. It's very
Hmm.
much the other way around, where we as users need to hold ourselves accountable and make sure that we have an understanding of AI fundamentals and prompt engineering. But also, we need to hold them accountable for their technology because they're the ones creating it. So, we do want to know what they're doing with their technology and if we can click a button and delete our data at any point in time if we decide this isn't for us. And we should be able to just go into their search bar and see where the data is stored, and that should be readily available to us without us having to go through 9, 10, 12 documents. So I think the accountability factor is what sets it apart, and also
Hmm.
just the engagement in the community. I don't think that there is a community that does a job like ours at bringing a really diverse group of people and different skill sets together and making it efficient. So I like to use this kind of analogy, if you will, is if you're in school and you're in a course and you have a couple people that are in this course that are really really good at it, and then you have some people that aren't that great at it but they want to be there and they want to learn. That's what this community is like, because what ends up happening is really cool. The people that are really good at the course, they end up becoming teachers and they end up leveling up because once you learn you can teach. And the people that weren't that good at AI, they come in and they're motivated by these people that are doing really well. And they're getting that mentorship and that one-on-one support that they wouldn't get anywhere else normally. So they're ending up coming in and like running miles and laps around everyone else because they get all of this insight from all these different skill sets of people. And they end up finding somebody that's compatible with them. So if they're coming in and they don't want to be talked at and they don't want to feel like they're going up with a professor that's got like 10 years of experience in this, and they can find somebody that's more on their level and buddy up and not have to do this alone.
Your prompt community building the new set of entrepreneurs for the future.
That's
You're literally
exactly the
building.
goal.
Yes, that's what you're doing. You're building a new set of entrepreneurs. Amazing, helping and extremely inspiring.
Thank you.
Inspiring. Yes, extremely inspiring. What's the future plans for the prompt community?
We just said it. That's the goal. This
That's it.
this business was very much built on a model. When I was thinking about a business, I didn't want to be a solopreneur for years. I that's not the lifestyle that I wanted for myself. I really wanted to create a business model where I help mentor the next round of entrepreneurs and then they help the next round of entrepreneurs, because it doesn't have to be this thing anymore where it's like you have to go the VC route or you have to be a solopreneur for years. Like there's this happy medium where you can find co-founders in groups of learning hubs just like this one. Maybe you do want to be a solopreneur. Maybe you want to find a co-founder though, or maybe you want to start a group. This is the environment where it's kind of just like an incubator. We're just holding this safe environment and letting people get as smart and as limitless as they possibly want to.
Amazing. What is the most common misconceptions about AI and tech that you encounter, and how do you address them in your community outreach efforts?
I would say that you have to have a technical background to use AI and be good at AI. You don't. I would actually argue that if you have a communications background or you're a good problem solver, you will be better at using AI than somebody with a PhD.
Hmm.
That's probably the biggest misconception. The second misconception would probably be that you can use AI to solve for all of your problems, and you can't. And probably for the same reason as communication. You need to first understand what that problem is yourself and diagnose it and accept that problem. Because a lot of times people know the problems, but they don't want to accept them. They don't have a good product market fit. Sometimes they'll just be like, well, it's the market. Well, we're not doing enough email outbounds. But like, if you don't have that initial foundation of this is the issue and we're going to solve this issue, then
Hmm.
AI is never going to help you. It is only going to enhance your problems. I would say those are probably the biggest two misconceptions. And then how I solve the second one is just saying, what do you want out of this? Or just making them have fun. And like I said, really shaping that first encounter that they have with AI. The only way to get successful and sustainable adoption rates is to ensure that that first encounter they have is controlled. It's in an environment where they're going to be productive and they are going to see ROI immediately. You have got to give them that instant gratification. Otherwise, they're not going to come back.
Very well said. Based on your experience, and a lot of our listeners and viewers are going to be inspired after they're watching this a great interview. They're going to get excited, be inspired, and they want to carve their own path in whatever industry that they want, marketing, AI, technology. But definitely, what's your advice to them as far as how to navigate, what do's and don't?
I would just say this is such an insane time in history. So, like, there has never been a better time to go out and achieve this skill set and go seek out some answers. And it doesn't matter what field, what industry you're in, whether you want a promotion or you want to go out on your own and start your own business. I would say, like, now is an insane opportunity. And the only way you can screw up not taking advantage of this opportunity is to do nothing. Even if it's just asking questions or watching one video per week, just do one thing that's slightly outside of your comfort zone, but that you're curious about every single week. I would also say, think about something that you really don't enjoy, and it doesn't have to be professional, it can be personal. I really hate
Yes.
planning trips, but I love going on trips. So that was one of the first things I used AI for. I was like, I want to go somewhere where it's 85 degrees, no humidity, no bugs, no animals that can kill you that slither because I'm terrified of snakes. Find me 10 places where I can go, and here's my budget. And within 10 minutes, I had a trip planned that brought me immediate value. It brought me work life balance. It got me something that I was excited to talk about at dinner time. And I was dying to tell my friends how I did this so that they could do this, because I was like, holy crap, this is insane. You have to try this. That's the whole point of this, is to do something and make this technology work for you. So go do that. You don't have to be, using use cases for blogs if that's not your jam. Just make this something that is personal to you and connect it in a way that brings you joy.
Amazing. So you do promote AI and technology, embrace AI and technology for your advancement, for human advancement, for everything, I think,
Yes.
and take out, and how do you take out the fear of somebody afraid of such technology that
I
can
think
replace them and all of that, which it's not happening. It is not happening, I would say. Definitely not happening.
I
Nobody
think
going to
that
get
we
replaced.
no, no one's going to get replaced. Definitely not now. And I would also say, I think it's not a matter of getting rid of the fear. I think it's understanding the fear. So you have to understand that this technology is so scary for a lot of people because it's challenging their preconceived beliefs about themselves. They
Yes.
went to school, they got all these skills,
Yes.
they got all these degrees, they've been in their careers for a while. And so the idea that this tech is disrupting that is super uncomfortable for them because a lot of people tie what they do to their identity. So just understand that if you're uncomfortable, it's not necessarily the tech that's making you uncomfortable. It's the reaction that the tech disrupting your job and your identity. That's what's making you uncomfortable. And just realizing that is kind of like refreshing because then you're like, okay, cool. I'm not afraid of a robot with no personality. I'm afraid of what this is going to do for me. So, how can I look at this differently? Well, if I want to make sure that my career is solidified, I could start picking up different skills. I could start learning new things. I could try taking new courses. I could write down a list of 3 other things that I'm interested in and maybe try to make passive income. Just rephrase your fear, I would say, and reformat that in your brain because it really is a mind over matter thing when it comes to AI.
Amazing. So the fear of unknown is to understand and learn about it, and it
Yes.
becomes the norm to you. Abs like the fear is driving a car. Somebody's
Yes.
afraid. I'm afraid driving it. Learn it, understand it, and it'll be no longer a fear. It'll be part of you. Great. Amazing answer. Really amazing. Very inspiring, extremely insightful. And, something for our viewers and followers to, I would say, adapt and understand. Anything you want to promote that you're coming up with, whether it's your prompt community or something else that you would like to announce people to look for?
Yes, always feel free to join the prompt community. It's great. It's not going anywhere. We are just getting started, and if anything, ramping up even more. We have a couple mentorship opportunities that are going to be opening up. And then I have my ebook coming out on how I built my business in 10 days. And it's going to give away my AI tools, my tech stack, and my workflows. And I am giving it away for $1 to make it extremely accessible. So if you don't think that you can build a business and you're curious about how to do it, or you're just curious about workflows and AI disrupting them and how they can look in the future, this ebook is going to be really cool, really accessible, and easily readable.
Well, amazing, light-hearted interview, and extremely insightful. And most important is actually motivating, extremely motivating, very motivating and insightful. So for our viewers, please follow her and learn more. And the book is coming out soon. And what's the address for the prompt community?
It is gettheprompt.com.
Gettheprompt.com. You heard it here on Entrepreneurs in Tech. Well, thank you for joining us, Ashley, today on Innovate Presents Entrepreneurs in Tech. Be sure to connect with us on social and all our socials. And until next time, keep innovating and stay curious and take care. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to share Innovate Presents Entrepreneurs in Tech podcast. And if you're joining us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.